On screen right now is the end of an absolutely insane game of Stimulus Trios. Throughout this match, we were constantly pushing teams and wiping out players, all whilst being at a permanent disadvantage. We were just a duo, battling against the odds for the entire match. Despite this, we not only managed to pull off a Warzone victory, but drop 38 kills in the process. You don't get this kind of a game by chance though. This isn't just a lucky streak where things went our way. We had to work as an effective team, use the right tactics, as well as know how to consistently create an advantage for ourselves that would allow us to repeatedly win gunfights, despite being a player down at all times. This video is going to be breaking down the gameplay and showing you exactly how we did it. I'll also be explaining our strategy and giving you the tips and tricks that you can use in your own Warzone games, so that you can reproduce a game like this. Seeing as we're only a duo, and this is a trios mode, we need to get our loadouts as fast as possible. We're already a man down, so we need our custom weapons and perks in order to level the playing field. That's why we're choosing to drop almost as soon as the match starts. We've picked this small village because it's slightly out of the way and has a buy station within it. It's too small to attract many teams, but it will still have just enough loot that we can grab a loadout without having to worry about competing with other players. Within less than 2 minutes of the match starting, we're able to get our loadout called in and get ourselves set up. I've gone for an incredibly aggressive overkill setup that focuses on dishing out damage over all else. The Dragon's Breath shotgun is perfect for obliterating enemies at close quarters, whilst the AMAX offers brilliant short to medium range versatility. We're also lucky enough to have enough spare cash that we can buy armour plates and cover the cost of respawning. Whilst I would recommend getting your loadout as fast as possible to any player in this mode, what I wouldn't recommend is necessarily doing it as fast as we are. You can't always guarantee that you'll have enough cash that you'll be able to call in a loadout as well as have players with enough cash to respawn. We're both confident enough that we're going to be able to drop enemies in order to reclaim that money, which is why we don't worry about not being able to afford redeployment. For us, getting a loadout is the most important thing, as it enables us to take on full-size teams, hence why we've gone for this approach. As we're all set up now, the next thing to do is to gather enough cash for a UAV. We know we're ahead of most other players who definitely don't have loadouts yet. Plus, less players have Ghost in this mode due to the increased amount of redeployment. Because of this, UAVs are incredibly powerful. We can see a huge cluster of players towards airport, so naturally, we're heading straight for them. Like I said at the start of this video though, you don't get to drop high kill games or pick up wins without good tactics and the right playstyle. So whilst we're heading straight for enemies, we're doing it in a specific way. We're hopping from cover to cover, making sure that we're not caught out in the open by any of the teams fighting in front of us. The noise from this cluster strike also hides any audio that might have given away our position, which is always helpful. This player then decided to abandon his high ground, which isn't a smart move, and was very quickly picked off by me. You may have noticed that I didn't immediately go for the finish, or that we're not pushing any closer to the multiple teams that are battling nearby. That's because we're surveying the situation, trying to figure out where enemy players are and what the balance of teams is. It doesn't matter if you're a full team or just a duo like us. Getting caught off guard will get you killed. It's always worth taking a bit of extra time to pinpoint enemy positions and figure out a good approach. Our low ground position isn't the best though, as anyone inside airport will have a very easy time shooting down on top of us. To avoid this problem, we're pushing inwards and upwards, aiming to take a higher position. Right ahead of us is an unexpected enemy, who's very quickly shredded by my AMAX and my partner's Kilo. Sometimes you are just going to be surprised by enemies, and it'll be down to your reactions to carry you through. When in a position like that, don't panic. Get on target and dish out as much damage as you can. Reactions will improve with game time, so these situations will get easier to deal with. Thanks to our kills, we've now got plenty of cash to spare, so we're off to the nearest buy station to grab a UAV and get hunting the next team. Throughout this game, you're going to see a massive amount of movement from us. We never stay in the same place for too long, and there's a good reason for that. Players can redeploy multiple times in this mode, and when you're in an area where multiple teams are fighting, you can have multiple teams redeploying at once. This can make an area very difficult to control and dominate, hence why we tend to bounce from one hunting ground to the next. We had decided to grab a bounty in order to pick up some extra cash, but a random loadout spawn was nearby, so we figured we'd pick it up. See how there's 2 loadouts here? We had hoped that this other team wouldn't be as close as we were. That was a big mistake. An entire trio was lying in wait and absolutely obliterated my teammate. There is absolutely no chance I'm winning a 1 versus 3 gunfight outright, so I deal out some suppressive fire and sprint out of there. This team knows I'm on my own, so they're going to be coming after me. I can double back on myself, which lets me catch this player off guard. Unfortunately, I can't risk pushing out to get the finish. Now I know this team outnumbers me, so I've got to approach this very carefully. I know at least one player will be going for the revive, but risking a direct confrontation with another player is dangerous. What I can do though is go for high ground. This gives me a better view and makes me much harder to hit. That's why I'm able to drop this player for a second time, and more importantly, finish him off. Right here, you're going to see why I love carrying a Dragon's Breath shotgun in this mode. First, I can decimate this player from above and force him into a garage. Then, I can wear this player's and his teammate who I wasn't expecting armour down. The beauty of this weapon is that I don't even need to aim in to deal massive damage. The spread of the pellets and burning effect do all the hard work for me. That's all it takes to wipe out this trio. Making use of the terrain around you, playing in a smart and calculated way, is what will allow you to win gunfights like this. After this, we're safe to grab our Lowdown Drop. The reason this is important is because we both rely on overkill to get our ideal weapons. Picking up a second loadout allows us to get Ghost, which is always helpful for avoiding UAVs. Now we're back to full strength, we can see a gunfight occurring in Boneyard. This is still relatively early in the match, so neither of us are concerned about slowing down and focusing on the win. Again, as we approach the area, we're sticking to cover and making sure we're not spotted. A duo pops out right in front of us, and they don't have a lot of cover available. For this team, it's a simple case of wrong place, wrong time, as they really couldn't do a lot to save themselves. We spent our cash after this on a couple of UAVs in order to up our kill count. Nobody appeared to be close by though, so heading into Boneyard, an area both of us are very confident in fighting in, seemed like the best bet. I'm just going to say again that this is the rule of never staying in one place for too long being demonstrated. On our way to a buy station to stock up on equipment, a truck came barreling into the hangar ahead of us. As both teams are in vehicles, it's safe to say we both know the general location of each other. This hangar has 2 entrances that face us, so we split up in order to cover one each. This team has more cover than us for sure, but if we can trap them inside this building, we can use that cover against them. I can easily catch this player out of cover, whilst my teammate does exactly the same to the other half of this squad. That's another team down and yet more resources for us. By splitting up, we could apply pressure from multiple angles. This can be a great tactic if you need to control a larger area. The match is progressing though, and we're actually much further through the game than we expected to be. Seeing as zone has moved away from us, we need to rotate to a new position. The logical option is to go back through Boneyard. The area suits our playstyle and weapons. Plus neither of us want to head out to the outer forest of this region unless we have to. Here, you can see we spot a team heading into the warehouse ahead. As we split up to approach the building from different angles again, my partner comes under fire. He can drop one enemy, but gets gunned down himself. This leaves me in a tricky position, seeing as I'm now pushing a full trio alone. My only cover is this pickup truck, and there's multiple enemies on the other side of it that are going to be a problem. A quick C4 lets me deal out damage to both targets. Repeatedly peeking this player with my shotgun lets me knock him without breaking cover. I can even down his teammate after he gets his self-revive off. If that player had managed to get back on his feet, then things would have ended differently. The beauty of this shotgun is that in a close range situation like this, I can deal out damage while staying almost entirely in cover. The burning effect means I can keep on pressuring this team without placing myself at any risk. Keeping the car between me and them meant that I could protect myself whilst eating away at their health. You don't always need a lot of cover to win a gunfight. You just need to know how to make the most out of what you have. It's not over yet though, as this team comes right back for their loot. By waiting for this player to stray out of cover, I can shoot him in the back for an easy kill. This returning player thing is definitely a unique factor of this game mode, and definitely one to be careful of. There was actually another member of this squad sat outside waiting for us. Fortunately, a shotgun tends to be pretty good at point blank range, so that wasn't much of a problem. My teammate doesn't have perks anymore though, so we need to quickly sprint to the nearest buy station to get a loadout. The later in a match you are, the more risky a loadout drop is, but we don't have much of a choice. This danger materialised pretty quickly as a precision airstrike separated us. At the same time, a trio pushed in. I dropped this player on the quad bike, thinking that it was a member of this pushing team. It turns out it wasn't, which definitely caught us off guard. This also gets my teammate downed, as he thought he was pushing a singular player rather than a pair. As I know I'm pushing a duo, explosives are the best bet. They let me tackle both enemies at once without even taking damage myself. This is definitely a testament as to why you should make the most out of whatever's in your inventory. What I thought was a simple revive actually turned into yet another gunfight as I was pushed by a random solo player. This fight was just a case of who has better accuracy and movement, which fortunately turned out to be me. Now we're in a seriously difficult situation, as we're outside of zone with no cover on our rotation, and we know we've got to head straight towards enemy teams. This is where we made a big call: use a vehicle. By using this buggy to cut into the gas, we can come up right behind another team, and I guarantee you that they were not expecting this play. This forces the remaining players here out of cover, getting them killed. There's still one more team left. They've got great cover, they have ring advantage, and there's 3 of them, so it's safe to say that this isn't looking good. We both know rotating anywhere else is out of the question, as we can't wait for zone as it just shrinks in this mode. Running straight at this team is the best option, and we're praying that this bold move catches them off guard. Through some serious accuracy and rapid player movement, this team gets obliterated, and that's the game won. This was an intense game that really highlights why tactics make all the difference in Warzone. Through strategy, positioning and teamwork, we were able to beat the odds and come out on top. I hope this video has given you some good advice and examples that you can use to improve your own Warzone performance, and that it's shown you it's always possible to succeed if you approach the game in the right way.